This was a historic trial, man. My coverage helped Puff.
So before he was playing a gangster.
Go to trial with the feds, you what?
You are a gangster.
There we go.
What happens now?
And I found out from a good source that
you said you had new information.
He got acquitted, man.
No.
He got acquitted.
He didn't get acquitted.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did, Matt. Don't do that.
He's
Listen,
got found guilty of two charges.
Come on, man. Knock it off. That's like Dollar Tree charges compared to what he was looking at. Nobody thought Puff was going to beat the Southern District of New York in New York at trial.
Well, I know one person that thought
Everybody thought Puff was going away for a 30 ball, 30 calendars, or life without the possibility of parole. And I found out from a good source that his plea was 30 years. They offered him a 30-year plea. I think I might have said that.
Why not go to trial?
Yeah, tie your sneakers up, man. Get you 12 of them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's no if the plea was 30, I assume the plea would have been 15.
That's what the rumor was, and that was what I ran with. But after hanging around the trial and talking to reliable sources, it was 30.
Yeah. So what choice do you have?
Right. Let's go. Crank it up.
And so you, the whole time, were saying, watch the trial. I don't think they got what they. I don't think they have enough. I don't think they have enough. You were like, so-and-so was lying. So-and-so doesn't sound credible. So-and-so, like, listed. There was no real smoking. Everybody's kind of waiting for the smoking gun. And of course, my experience with with federal trials is that they don't really need a smoking gun. They just need you sitting in that chair, and the jury thinks you're guilty of something.
Exactly.
So, but that's because also I think that most defendants aren't able to level the playing field. They don't have the money to defend. Most people don't have the money to defend against the United States government.
1000% agree.
Right, which has inexhaustible amount. You know what they really should do? Is that if you have a public defender, they should have it so that the public defender has the same budget as the prosecution. Could you imagine how quickly those pleas would drop to offering some guy 20 years to, okay, listen, let's go with 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the whole thing is that they can just absolutely. First of all, it's one public defender. Yeah. Who got like he's got like $15,000 or $20,000 to go to trial against the government. Who anytime they need help, they've got investigators. They've got, we're going to bring in 2 more lawyers to help us with this work. We're going to get some paralegals. We're going to, they can, it's just inexhaustible amount of money that they can spend to crush you. That guy doesn't have a chance.
They had 6 assistant U.S. attorneys prosecuting Puff, which was the most in the history of the Southern District of New York, and 2 others, they said, like, who were like in a supervisory role who had AUSA backgrounds. Mm-hmm. So they spared no expense, and I would imagine they had a team of whoever back at the Southern District of New York doing whatever they needed. But Puff came through, man. His legal team was the truth, man. The truth. The truth. You already know, man. You already know.
He still doesn't come off looking great.
Why not?
Because it's just a lot of just debauchery and behaving badly and the prostitution.
No, man. This is the king of hip hop right here.
God.
This is the king of hip hop. He took the feds to trial and beat them.
What do you think that does for the feds the next time they want to prosecute somebody?
Well, they better leave Puff alone.
Wait, what's the other guy, the rapper, that beat him recently? The judge threatened to throw the lawyer in.
Oh, so you're talking about the Young Thug YSL?
Young Thug, thank you.
Right.
Yes.
Brian Steele, who was also on Puffy's legal team. Yeah. So that was a Georgia RICO. That was a state RICO. This ain't the feds, though. You did Fed time and I did Fed time. The feds have you shaking, have the hair on the back of your neck standing up when that paperwork come in the mail and it says United States of America versus you. I remember when that shit came to my house, man, they sent that paperwork. I put it down and I had to read it. I said, oh, shit. I had to read it again, man. And it sends a fright through you, man. And at this time, they were going after Saddam Hussein. I was like, yo, man, these people prosecuting
Terrorists.
countries, dictators, and against me now? Yeah. But Puff came through, man. It was a win. It was a win for Puff. I don't care how nobody tries to spin it. The little prostitution charges ain't nothing. Base offense level of 14. You understand? They're going to run them concurrent. They're not going to run them consecutive. You can listen to all the mainstream media you want to listen to talking about, oh, he's going to get 10 years. He's going to get, no, he ain't. No, he ain't. No, he ain't. No, he ain't.
What do you think he's going to get?
Puffy's got a base offense level of 14, right? So the guideline range, he's category 0, category 1, no criminal history, right? Amendment 826 doesn't allow the probation officer or the prosecution, when calculating his PSI and his guidelines, to use none of the predicate offenses that he was charged for in determining his relevant conduct, right? To determine where he falls at on the sentencing guidelines. So all they could do is charge him based on the charge, which is the sex prostitution, right? So these charges, I mean, I know we're not in the state, but in the state, these charges is 0 time to 6 months, right? But this is Puff, is high profile. You're going to go by the guidelines. Can he get enhanced for coercion? I'm not sure, because I think coercion was one of the predicate offenses under the RICO that he beat, right? Now you got all these other male escorts coming out suing Cassie, saying, yo, homegirl was with it. You know, there was no coercion. She was with it. She called me. I was in an 8-year relationship with her. So the enhancement for coercion, I don't see happening. The enhancement for violence, I don't see happening, because the assistant U.S. attorneys used that to deny him bail to go home. The judge was going to let him go home that Friday when he got acquitted. But Maureen Comey stood up and she started talking about all this violence. And then Agnifilo had mentioned something, we accept the domestic violence. So the judge was like, I'm going to deny you bail for the violence piece. Now, being that they did it then, the judge also let everybody know that come sentencing, violence cannot be brought up, right? No coercion. So my man is stuck at a base offense level of 14.
How many months does that fall? 15
to 21, right? He's in a drug program now, and he's in a domestic violence program right now at MDC Brooklyn. MDC Brooklyn is under federal investigation for inhumane conditions, right? Bugs in the food, maggots in the food.
Yeah, we had,
what's her name?
We had the probation officer that you watched, right? She said it was horrific conditions. They actually give them sometimes more time off because of how bad.
Won't even send them there.
Right.
And one particular judge, her name, I think his name is Furman, Furman. He came out and he did a big piece, I think, in New York Times that, like, yo, I'm not even sentencing nobody. If you're awaiting sentencing, or you've been found guilty, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even sending you there. Go to the crib. We're going to put an ankle monitor on you, and that's it. We're going to go from there. So all of this is playing into his favor, man. All of it, when he goes for sentencing on October 3rd, he be done sat in there a year.
So you think it's not time? It's almost time served.
They might cut him loose right then and let him go home for Thanksgiving or Christmas. I don't doubt it. On the worst case scenario, I'm thinking maybe 24 months. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. But that's small potatoes compared to motherfucker was looking at life or death.
What?
What's up? Talk to me, man.
What do you?
Did you think he was gonna beat it?
No.
You thought he was gonna get convicted?
Of course I thought he was going to get convicted. Nobody's beating the feds.
That nigga beat the feds at trial in New York City in the Southern District of New York.
I also assumed they had more than what they presented.
Yeah, they didn't have nothing. Mark Agnifilo saved his life. Tenny Garagos, Nicole Westmoreland, Brian Steele, Xavier Donaldson, Jason Driscoll, Anna Esteveo.
And you were there for the... Were you there? We weren't there every day.
Jonathan Bob, I was every day, man. I was there every day except for when I came down here. Remember when I came back?
Yeah.
That's the only days I didn't go. I was there every morning, kid. On the train. Drive to Jersey City, jump on the PATH train, go into Manhattan. I went every single day in the overflow, which was on the 24th floor. The overflow.
Are you guys standing up?
No, it was a regular courtroom. We were sitting down on a bench, and then they had two big like 70-inch LED monitors with the cameras on the courtroom. One was on the witness stand. You could see the witness, and the rest was like a pan view of the assistant U.S. attorneys had the whole front row, and then Puffy had 2 rows for his whole team. And then they had the speaker system, and you can hear everything in real time. So I was there, man.
Are people talking and stuff? Or
Nah, the marshals ain't going for that. The marshals in the overflow was like, yo, we'll kick you out of here.
right. So it's just like being in the courtroom.
Nah, the regular courtroom was even rougher.
Okay.
Because I got in there one day because I wanted to see Puff. And the one marshal in there, this Italian dude, man, this nigga was like, you couldn't chew gum. You couldn't have no water. And the seat that you got in the morning, you had to sit in that seat all day. And they ran that joint like, like a concentration camp. You couldn't do nothing in there or else they would kick you out of there. That was the one that had all the reporters. And obviously, Puff is in there, everybody. That was the real one.
Were you able to get a good look at him to see like what was your analysis? What do you look like?
Still
Yeah.
dyed?
I saw him. He got
hair?
he got a gray afro. Okay. Puff had the gray afro. He had the day I went, he had the sky blue sweater on that he got probably from TJ Maxx or Marshalls. Had to give him that look. And he turned around, and I think we made eye contact. You know what I'm saying? But he was right there. I saw all of them. I didn't like the real courtroom. I liked the overflow better.
Why?
Because you couldn't hear, right? With the real courtroom, the witnesses were up there, and you couldn't really hear them good. But in the overflow, the shit was like on a Bose speaker system. So
and when they're talking in the mic, it's like they're talking.
Exactly.
Okay.
You could hear everything. And I just felt more comfortable in the overflow.
Yeah, I assumed first off, we were going to talk about this. We were going to about the Courtney Burgess.
Yeah, I just dropped the video on him today.
Nice.
I just dropped the video on him today, Courtney.
On
that
your
simple
channel?
suit coming down, baby. Ariel Mitchell, New Star Nation, Ashley Banfield's coming down. Listen, y'all thought you was gonna never have to see Puff again. You thought Puff was going away forever. I could say what I want. None of the rappers, none of y'all came to see him. You came to his parties, you was drinking his liquor, you sitting on his furniture, you swimming in his pool. He making phone calls for you, hooking you up. None of y'all came. Kanye West was the only one that showed up. You thought you weren't gonna never have to see Puff again. You ain't putting no money on his book so he get him some peanut butter. You ain't sending his kids no money to go get him a slice and a soda. You said, I ain't gonna have to see that nigga no more, so he going to jail forever. But he beat the feds at trial, and he'll be home shortly. And he's gonna make a comeback, and he's the king of hip hop. There's no rapper ever that got his street cred, his his business mind. You understand? And he took the feds to trial and beat them. Yes, he did. You seen it. You seen it.
Did you? And so you dropped the video today on your channel. What channel? What is your channel?
The podcast was sold. Courtney Burgess, you might as well get ready for the get ready. You might as well get ready for the get ready.
So what was the video about?
Well, it was about Courtney Burgess. You had put me up on this the last time I came This dude said that he got 11 flash drives from Kim Porter, that Kim Porter selected him personally out of all the people in the world. Come to find out,
one of his many versions, yes.
Right. Never met Kim Porter, never met Puff. And said on these flash drives, on 8 of them, there were videos of Puffy with 8 A-list celebrities who were surreptitiously videoed, mean them not knowing, and some of them were minors, right?
The 3 minors, he said, was Justin Bieber, Jaden Smith, and
Usher.
I want to say, I almost said Rush. Anyway, and Usher. And I mean, he was very explicit on my podcast.
He was on here?
Are you serious? You never saw the thing?
But you big time. I could figure. I could see why he on here.
I mean, it was all on a remote, but he admits that he saw them, he watched them. The whole thing, well, I watched enough to know how old they were. Justin Bieber's hair was this so-and-so, and I could tell from the tattoos, like no tattoos, like he was definitely underage. And I could tell that Usher had been drinking. I mean, he has a whole thing on, and that, yes, there was definitely intercourse. There was, it does a whole thing.
Crazy, man.
It talks about making copies of the videos, or downloading them. It does a whole thing. And I'm sitting there listening to him thinking, does he realize he's right now admitting to watching child or CP,
possessing
it and distributing it, because he gave it to Chris Todd. And I talked to you about this, is that Chris Todd had reached out to several platforms and I believe attorneys telling them that he had these tapes. So I would believe that he was trying to sell those tapes. And because he was out there doing that, Jaguar Wright, this is my opinion, Jaguar Wright had heard about it through the rumor mill. And she starts saying, those tapes exist right now. They're out there. Somebody's trying to sell them. And next thing you know, it's everywhere that these tapes exist, that they're out there. People have seen them, because of course people have to lie. They have to exaggerate. Oh, they've seen them. It's out there. You can buy them. They're available on the dark web. There are shots of them. There's this. When none of that's true. Chris Todd does not have them. He's never seen. Chris Todd's out there saying he had seen the videos and that he'd seen that he said he'd seen still shots of the videos. And of Diddy in acts with, I believe he said with minors, or at least with the celebrities.
That's crazy,
but
man.
None of that. But that's not true.
None of that was true, man.
Now here's the thing. I know that Courtney had taken still shots of Diddy that are available online. But just still shots of him. It looks like he's got his shirt off, and it looks like something could be happening, right? And he may have given those to Todd. I don't know what Todd saw. I think Todd did see something.
He did that on the Sean Atwood YouTube channel too.
What?
Atwood Unleashed.
Who? Courtney?
Courtney Burgess went on.
So you watched Sean Atwood's version, but you didn't watch my version.
I didn't watch Sean Atwood's version. Sean Atwood's name is in the complaint that Puffy filed against Courtney Burgess, Ariel Mitchell, and Next Star Media, which is News Nation.
Well, thank God I'm not in
Sean
that.
Atwood's name and Schofield, whatever his co-host is, they're in there also putting the gas on it, putting the lighter fluid on it, you know what I'm saying? Based on, malicious, untrue statements by Courtney Burgess. They were running with it, man. Mm-hmm. You understand? And none of it was true. He was even brought before the grand jury, Courtney Burgess.
Right.
And his testimony had to be trash canned. Otherwise, he would have been a witness in the criminal trial.
Oh, not just that. They called him back for a second time. Only this time, Ariel said, no, you can't go back for a second time. The only reason they're calling him back for a second time is to trip him up on the lies.
Yeah, so they can lock his ass up.
By that point, I think Ariel realized something's wrong with this guy. I don't think initially she caught it. Well, let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning.
She knew too.
Well, let's go back to the very beginning.
Let's go.
Let me tell you what's happened. So the quick version is that, and I'll actually tell you how I entered into the picture, because, I want to make it about me. So, and that's not true. This is just the way it is. This is just what happened.
Always about Matt Cox.
This is just what happened.
Always about Matt Cox.
Wade reached out to me. Wade.
Shout out to Wade, Crime Entertainment.
Wade Williamson. Oh, sorry. Hollywood Wade. I love Hollywood. Wade talks about himself in the third person sometimes. Oh, Hollywood don't play that, Cox. So, here's what happened is that he contacted me. I'd say I'm probably off on my dates, but let's say 6 months before all this, before Puffy gets raided. So let's say 6 months before that, he contacts me and he says, "Hey, listen, you've published some books. I got this guy named Courtney Burgess." And I'm like, "Who's that?" He said he contacted Courtney Burgess because a mutual friend had told him that Burgess had been one of the producers of one of Tupac Shakur's hits. Now, of course, Burgess has no proof of this at all, but he's running around telling everybody, "I produced this hit and this hit. I was there for this. I did this." No, but there's no proof. He's not listed on anything.
Zero.
But Wade had heard through a friend, this is what this guy knew, and he knew him, and so he thought, Wade likes hip hop. So he said, I reached out to him. I wanted to talk to him, like, hey, what was he like? That sort of thing on his show. So he reaches out to him and he says, "Man," he said, "forget that. I got something way bigger." He goes, I have Kim Porter's memoir. Basically, it's a memoir. I'm going to call it a memoir. It's more of diary entries.
This is what Wade told you he had? Or this is what he said Courtney said he had?
Courtney told Wade he had this.
Right.
And I said, okay. And Courtney said, now, I got a copy of it, and I've read it. I went, okay. He said, and I'm telling you, bro, he's like, if this is true, it's sensational. And he said, I was wondering if you wanted to talk to this guy, maybe have him on your program, or maybe even publish the book, And I went, wait, I said, I don't know enough about hip hop to have a conversation with this guy. I said, and I know who I knew who Puff Daddy was, right? Like, that's how I knew him. So since then, he's had 4 different fucking names. And he said, I said, to me, it's like the mob genre. I'm not a good guy to interview mobsters because they talk in a way that, oh, yeah, that's when Jimmy the Chin did this. And they talk like everything. Like, you have to have a thorough knowledge of that genre to have a conversation with one of these guys, and I don't. Same thing with hip hop. You have to really know. There's a whole genre. It's a whole lore that's around it.
Backstory, right?
But yeah, exactly. And I don't know it. Mm-hmm. It would take me. I'd have to read 10 or 15 different books and study for 6 months to have a really honest conversation with these guys that have been following it since they were fucking 14 years old.
People like me who've lived it my whole life.
Your whole life. Grew up
in North Jersey in the 70s.
It's 6 months of study for me to have a conversation where I'm following 80% of what you're saying.
Right.
So I was like, I don't think so. I said, I appreciate it. He said, no, it's no big deal. And then he said, and this is how I believe it went. He said, what about Chris Todd? Or I said, what about Chris Todd? And neither one of us, I think very highly of Chris Todd. So we both kind of laughed about it. And we were like, yeah, this sounds like something he'd jump on. So he contacts Chris Todd, puts Chris Todd and Courtney together.
Who the hell is Chris Todd?
Chris Todd's the guy that actually went on Amazon and published the book.
Really?
Chris Todd's been on my program a couple times. One time was about...
he in trouble too.
Yeah, I know. Well, one time was about... it was the O.J. Simpson. He has an alternative theory to what happened with O.J. Simpson and Nicole Simpson and Ron Goldman. Thank you. So he has a whole alternative, which, by the way, still has O.J. doing it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Chris Todd's whole alternative is really just a reason why O.J. did it. Like it doesn't mean anything. And by the way, he's been sued by whoever I forget. He's been sued over it and lost a lawsuit. He hadn't at that time. So he came on once and did a program about that. Not great. And he's kind of a dick. He's just kind of got a jerky attitude. So whatever, we did that one. And then it did another one was Kurt Cobain. So he's a whole nother book about that.
He made that song,
Teen Spirit.
Yeah, that's my joint.
I know, okay.
That's my joint.
Anyway.
Like a mosquito. Yeah, that's my cut.
So anyway, he killed himself. Chris Todd has a book about how he wasn't killed, he was murdered. And it was all whatever, it was a whole thing. So he's got another book about that. We did that. So we've done a couple videos. These are not great books. He is not a great writer. He is not a journalist. He pretends to be a journalist. And he does this whole thing. And so Wade and I kind of laughed and said, yeah, this is definitely down his alley. Wade puts them all together. Courtney and Todd get together, sends him the book, tells him he's got these flash drives.
Yeah.
In Todd's defense, I think he believed Courtney. Because let's face it, the moment you first start talking to someone, it's not hard for me to prove I'm credible if I have a little bit more knowledge on a subject than you, right? Because you don't really know any better, right? You have to, it takes you a little bit of time, and then eventually you go, I don't think you fucking really know what you're talking about. But initially you believe it. So initially I believe that Todd believed this. He believed that Courtney had the flash drives. Todd says he sent him some screenshots, and then Todd starts shopping them. He's shopping the memoir, Kim Porter's memoir. And by the way, so the way initially I was told that Courtney was after Kim Porter died, a couple of days after the funeral, he was approached by her best friend, which is Richard Simmons' ex-wife, whatever her name is, and that she is the one that gave Courtney. He says that he knows her, they're friends, no proof of that, and that she gave him the flash drives and said, I want you to publish these, to get these out. Now, this is years go by. He doesn't do anything with them. At one point, he prints up some books. He tries to get it out there. Nobody's paying attention to him. He sits on it the whole time. Wade talks to him, tries to get Wade interested. Wade gives them to Chris Todd. Chris Todd says, yeah, let me read it. Chris Todd looks at it and says, yeah, I'll do something with it. I'll try and get it published. Never really does. 6 months go by. 6 months later, they're still trying to get him to publish the book. And I believe it was either a few days before or a few days after Diddy was raided, he publishes the book.
Right.
Nothing happens.
3 days, Puffy was arrested on the 23rd or the 24th of September. They published the book on the 27th of September.
So it's a few days.
A few days after.
Right. So he must have, what happened was that happened and Chris Todd finally probably jumped into action. They've been trying to get him to do it for 6 months while he's shopping this whole thing, right? So now Chris Todd's probably thinking, oh, I got some celebrity. I got some, I can get this all. So he publishes it. So real quick, he publishes it, and then here's what happens. Nothing happens. Over the course of the next 2-3 weeks, however long, the book sells 20 or 30 copies. That's it. So Wade comes to me. Oh, wait, and then Puffy gets indicted and arrested. I think he got arrested or whatever. He turned himself in, however it worked.
Got arrested.
Yeah, he didn't really sell. None of the books is sold, and so Wade's like, none of the books are selling. So he calls me and says, man, do you mind if I come on the podcast and talk about the book? Because keep in mind that Wade's a part. Wade gets a piece of this. They all have an agreement. So Wade says, do you mind if I come on? Would you be interested? I said, Wade, you're going to have to do all the talking because I don't know anything about this. And he's like, okay, yeah, we'll do that. And Wade's like, I don't really want to be that intertwined with it either. He's like, because I don't really know what's real. I remember Wade said, I believe that probably 70-80% of the book is true. He said the allegations and the kind of things that are being said in it. But I don't necessarily believe that Kim Porter wrote it. Does that make sense? A lot of what's in there is probably maybe correct, but I don't think Kim Porter wrote it. I think we've always believed that that Burgess wrote it, right? Courtney Burgess wrote it. So he comes on the program. He talks about the books, what's in there, talks about this, talks about that. So we have this whole conversation. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I don't know. It seems pretty accurate. It's a lot of this. But keep in mind, too, a lot of it's made up of rumors that have been out there about Diddy forever.
For years.
And keep in mind, Burgess clearly dislikes this guy. Burgess, supposedly he grew up in that genre, in that era, and in the basic area of Diddy and some of these guys. But while these guys took their humble beginnings and created something, Burgess really didn't. Like he wanted to. I think he was around those guys, but it never happened. He has a real animosity towards these guys. He has an axe to grind.
It says that in the civil suit.
Right. And it's clear.
It says that in the suit, that he was a fringe character that left no detectable mark on the recording industry, but he claims that he was this, that, and the other thing, like you said, but was a nobody.
Yeah. So Wade comes on my program, talks about the whole thing, talks about the book, and that podcast really kind of blew up. Because of the podcast, Jaguar got a hold of it. A bunch of other guys started watching it.
Your podcast.
My podcast. Then within a week, and then guess what? The book starts selling a bunch. And so Chris Todd sees this activity. Chris Todd didn't want to be a part of the book. He didn't want his name on it. He didn't want anything. Chris Todd suddenly says, oh my gosh, the book's selling. This is what we need to do. I can see all these other people they're now doing videos about it. They're doing podcasts. I want to get in there. And so he starts doing articles. He does an article with, I forget who, but some big magazine. He does an article with them talking about the whole thing. Next thing you know, Chris Todd, you can't keep him out of a podcast studio. He's doing one podcast after another, and the book is blowing up. It takes about 4 or 5 weeks for Diddy's kids. No, it was oh gosh, what was the name?
The book got taken down.
Yeah, it got taken down because of Kim Porter's ex-husband. What's his name?
Albie Shore?
Albie Shore. Albie Shore files and says that the photo is a copywritten photo, and they take the book down. He's threatening to file a lawsuit, and then eventually what ends up happening is I think there was a lawsuit filed by Kim Porter's children. And Amazon took the book down. It sold about 40,000 copies.
Yeah, it was at the bestseller. It was made the top seller on Amazon.
Right, absolutely.
And when he took it down, he retitled it and put it up on another website.
Right.
With a different title or something. All that's in the
producer or something. Anyway,
yeah.
So what happens is at this point, then he's coming on, and while this is happening, he's coming on my podcast. So Courtney comes on my podcast, suddenly admits he's got these fucking flash drives.
That's
and by
crazy.
the way, changes his story again. He's got about 3 or 4 different versions of how he got these flash drives. When I spoke with him on the phone the first time, it was like 1 flash drive. Then it became, whatever it is, 11 flash drives. Then first he got it after the funeral. Then he got it several months after the funeral. Then another version was he got it a week before she died. And then it became several months before she died. Like, that doesn't make sense at all, because the memoir goes all the way up to literally minutes before she dies. She's writing, "Oh, I'm sick. Sean finally got me. He finally..."
That's crazy, man.
So she's writing up to the moment she dies, and yet she gave it to you 3 months beforehand. Anyway, it's like I said, the lies are just so constant.
He says in the civil suit, he says that he spoke to her. I think he was on the Atwood podcast or something. He says, yeah, I spoke to her like 6 hours ago. He says that he spoke to her.
He's never said he spoke to her. Never met her. Never
suit,
this.
He said
never.
he spoke to her.
So anyway, that must have been one that slid. There were so many. So then what happens is, at some point because he mentions he's got the flash drives, he's got them on his computer, he's got this, he's got everything. He texts me one day that the FBI just raided my house. And I was like, they just raided you? He said, yeah, they just raided my house. I said, okay. He said, they were looking for the computers, or they trashed my house, they this, that. And then I was like, all right, it was the FBI? Yeah, it was the FBI. Well, the FBI is not involved in the prosecution of Diddy. It's Homeland Security. So the FBI did not prosecute. Then as we talk, I realize that happens. Then a few days later, he says that they raided him again. And then he sends me, the first time I asked him to send me a copy of the search warrant, he won't do it. Okay, so you're full of shit. Then when they come back, whatever, 4 or 5 days or however many days later it is, they do it. They raid him again. He sends me a copy of a subpoena. It was a subpoena. It wasn't a search warrant. They never raided your house. It was a subpoena so you would show up in front of the grand jury. Shows up in front of the grand jury. He told me that when he showed up in front of the grand jury, they played my video to the grand jury and questioned him.
Crazy.
Okay. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But he says that they asked him a bunch of questions, that they grabbed his phone and his computer and everything else to get the whole of the flash drives. Now he said, so I said, well, they have me. He said, well, I don't know. I got rid of them. Yeah, I deleted all of them. I didn't want them on my stuff. I didn't want them. Then, of course, when he goes inside of the grand jury, he's got Ariel, his attorney, and they go on Law and Crime. They go on Law and Crime, and I believe...
Is that News Nation, Next Star Media? With Ashley Banfield?
Maybe. News Nation? So it's News Nation, not Law and Crime. Sorry, it's News Nation. So goes on News Nation, and in there, do you remember when he says, yeah, I got raided? And she says, well, wait a minute, he wasn't raided, it was a subpoena. Somehow or another, that's been altered. It was never, he was not raided, it was a subpoena. He's like, oh, yeah, it was a subpoena. Yeah. It's like, you were never raided, bro. And I think at that point, here's my opinion. I think that initially she believed him. She believed that, hey, he had all of these things, and she didn't realize that he's really a con man, that he wrote this whole thing, because here's what I think happened. I think he wrote the Kim Porter. He saw an opportunity. Kim Porter died. I'm going to put all these things together, and I'm going to tell people that I have her memoir, and I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to make millions. And then he tried to do it himself, and he couldn't do it. So then Wade at some point comes to him and says, hey, man, you want to come on this podcast? And he says, what? Yeah, but I got something better than that. I could actually have Kim Porter's, I've got her memoir. And Wade jumped on it, connected him to Chris Todd, and then it took off from there. And so I think that initially that Ariel believed that she had a client that did have this memoir, that did have these flash drives, maybe thought he wasn't very savvy, and that's why maybe he trips himself up sometimes. But I think the more time she spent with him, the quicker she then realized this guy's a pathological liar. And he's been lying. His story's changing over and over again. And that's why she didn't let him go to the grand jury the second time. Because I think the second time, they were going to trip him up on what he testified to before. And that's why she said, absolutely not, you are not going back there. Because I'm not going to let my client go and get himself indicted. But by then, it was too late. The damage had been done.
With Ariel Mitchell, in the civil suit Puffy files against her for the $50 million in damages, if, I hear what you're saying that...
Right. You don't have to agree with me.
Right.
You can think
but that's an argument people say, that she didn't really know, she didn't, she believed them at first. But what they mention in the civil suit is that as an attorney...
She should have vetted him.
You need to do the proper due diligence to corroborate what this guy is telling you. And she did none of that. She took what he said and she ran with it and started doing interviews herself and spreading the same falsities and the same lies, the same nonsense that he was spreading. And she requested, this is in the civil suit, that any interview she did had to be in New York City. She needed a first class flight. She needed at least a minimum of 2 nights at a 4-star hotel, minimum.
Okay.
She needed a makeup artist, nails and hair allowance, and she needed snacks and meals, right? And then she was gonna charge a material fee if you wanted to make copies of any of her notes or documents. So she got on board with my man and was trying to get money from the situation too. And she went on, they did a couple of interviews on the courthouse steps at the federal, when he went to the grand jury, spreading lies. And then she went on News Nation with Ashley Banfield and started saying the same thing. And then Ashley Banfield starts putting the gas on it, throwing matches on it too with her own thing. And they're all getting sued for $50 million. They're all getting sued. She did the same thing, Ariel Mitchell, with Chris Brown, sued him about, I think this was in 2022, about some honey went to her and said he did this or she made this story up. Chris Brown came out the next day after she did her press conference saying that she's suing him for SC sexual assault. Chris Brown came out, posted the text messages and the voicemails, proving that it was a consensual relationship. She withdrew the civil suit. She did the same thing with Trey Songz. So, Matt, they thought Puff was gone, man. Just like you, man. Y'all thought Puff was dead, man.
I did.
Y'all thought Puff was out of here. Courtney Burgess thought Puff was out of here. Ariel Mitchell, Ashley, every mainstream media.
So you want to hear something else?
You understand? But my man tied his sneakers up and he was bobbing and weaving. You understand? Oh, you got 6 U.S. attorneys? I'm going to hire 10 lawyers. I'm going to hire 11.
I'll be honest with you. You know what? They should have known from the beginning he was going to be hard to catch because of the baby oil. Because he's all slippery. You can't get your hand. That's when
check you out, man.
People rub baby when the cards are coming in on you.
Oh, snap!
They wipe down with.
Listen. I'm glad you brought that up. So, Ariel Mitchell also in this pony show that she's going around with our boy Courtney Burgess. She says that Puffy infused the baby oil with drugs and that he would squirt the victim with the baby oil and it would incapacitate him, and then he would assault them and take pictures and say, look at what I got. I'll tell your wife if you don't do what I do. I'll tell your husband if you don't do what I do. I'll ruin your career. This is the stories that Ariel Mitchell and this dude made up, man, about, you know what I'm saying? But my man came through. My man saved his life. Mark Agnifilo in his closing statement was epic. It was epic. It was epic. I couldn't even take no notes because I was the note taker. Mm-hmm. But when Mark Agnifilo got up to do his closing argument, man, he closed the deal, man. Saved Puffy's life. Because the day before, that Thursday, Assistant U.S. Attorney Slavic got up and did her closing argument for...
She wasn't very eloquent.
What she did was she had a notebook and she stood in front of the class and she looked down, she read, and then she would look up at the jury. And then Section 32B, and this is where... And they say some of the jurors was falling asleep, yawning.
If you sleep hot at night, you know how disruptive that can be. Whether you're having trouble falling asleep, you're waking up sweating in the middle of the night, or all of the above. That's where GhostBed can help. As the makers of the coolest beds in the world, GhostBed is your go-to for cooling mattresses, cooling pillows, and cooling bedding. From their signature Ghost Ice fabric to patented technology that adjusts to your body's temperature, every Ghost Bed mattress is designed with cooling in mind. So whether you want a plusher mattress that cushions your shoulders and hips, or a firm option with exceptional support, your Ghost Bed will keep you cool and comfortable all night long. When you purchase a Ghost Bed mattress, your comfort is guaranteed. You can try out your mattress for 101 nights, risk-free, to make sure it's the right fit for you. Plus, they offer free shipping and most items are shipped within 24 hours. If you're not sure which ghost bed is right for you, check out their mattress quiz. You'll answer a few questions and get a personalized recommendation. Even better, our listeners will get 10% off for a limited time. Just visit ghostbed.com/Cox and use code Cox at the checkout. That's ghostbed.com/Cox and use code Cox for 10% off site-wide.
I watched the whole closing on. I said, Puff is dead, man. Because she really did lay. If you listen to her and you stopped your mind at her, she painted the picture that this man was guilty and that he should be convicted. And I was like, I was down that day, man. I went out, I did my last, man, this wasn't no good day for Puff. I said, Mark Agnifilo got to bring it tomorrow. Man, Mark Agnifilo went in there, and right from the door, he had a microphone on. He didn't stand in front of the podium. Like Slavic stood in front of the podium. Mark Agnifilo was all over the courtroom, in the jury face. Hey, there's two trials here. There's a trial of the witnesses, the testimony, right? That's the real trial. And then there's a fake trial, the one that's put on by the prosecution. And he pointed toward Maureen Comey and all six. And man, the jury, they was, from what the people told me that was in 26, they was all sitting on their chair like a Doberman pincher in the front seat, man. And he was animated. And he says, and they brought in the SRT team, the special response team, and 70 Homeland Security officers broke down his door. And they went in his house. And you know what they found? Baby oil and Astroglide. The world is safe. They got all the baby oil, because the drugs that they found, man, these were minuscule amounts of drugs, man.
Yeah, these are just users.
This is just personal use.
Yeah.
And after Mark Agnifilo did his thing, you know what I'm saying? I said, my man got a chance. My man got a chance. And obviously the jury felt the same way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they cut him loose, man. They cut him loose. And Tenny Garrigle, all of them, all of his attorneys, this was an all-star team, man. And they worked together like a seamless unit, man. This one cross-examined this, like whoever they chose to cross-examine the witnesses, it was perfect, man.
I'm trying to.
Witnesses perjuring themselves on the stand, lying and shit.
So hold on, let me see if I can find this guy.
They got rid of the black juror in week 5. That didn't help. They were doing everything, man. You know what it looked like, Matt?
What?
It looked like Major League Baseball all-star team versus the freshman high school team, man. From Puffy's lawyers to the prosecutors, man. Yo, Kobe, it wasn't even a fair fight, man. It wasn't even a fair fight.
What was the reason that they got this guy off the jury? What is it?
Well, they said that I don't know, this is the gossip committee, that he was showing up late and that he said to one of the staff in the jury room that he was commuting from New Jersey or whatever, and that his wife and his daughter, his new baby daughter, was in New Jersey, but he was from the Bronx. So then they got on that, like, well, where's he really from? Because if he's from New Jersey, he can't sit on a New York jury. And then they said they got him out for that. That was the story I heard, but I don't really know why.
Is there a dollar amount, or is it known how much did he spend on his legal team?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but it's got to be tall dollars, man. Tall dollars.
So
man.
I was looking through my phone just now because I got an email from Ariel Mitchell's civil defense attorney. And he was like, hey, I'd like to talk to you. I've watched several of your videos regarding the Diddy trial. And I'd like to talk to you about Courtney Burgess. And so I said, hey, yeah, what time? When? So I met with him, or we got on the phone, started talking. And we had this whole conversation, and I directed him to a story I wrote on Inside True Crime, which is my website. It's InsideTrueCrime.com, right? Or it's Inside True Crime magazine. It's online, and it's, if you scroll down, it's one of the last things I posted, which is called The Hoax. And I actually wrote up the entire thing that happened with Courtney Burgess. So I said, yeah, you should go there. And he was like, okay. He's like, yeah. He said, I've looked at all this stuff. He goes, what do you think's happening? And so I explained the whole thing. And I said, obviously I'm not great with dates and stuff. And I said, this is what happened. And he said, what do you think happened? I said, I think that Courtney Burgess made the whole thing up. I think he wrote the whole thing. And he said, well, how could he write that book? I said, you understand he's already written a book. I said, he thinks he's a writer. He's written a couple books, kind of like hood novels, like What Happened with Tupac, that kind of thing. Like it's a whole fucking, it's ridiculous. And I said, in fact, he published a novel about, I want to say it has something, it's about, I don't forget what exactly. I think it's about Tupac. And then he had somebody put their name on it who was attached to Tupac somehow. I'm not sure, and that could be off a little bit. But he's also got the same book published under his own name. So I think he wrote it and then attached it to somebody. Forget exactly what happened, but this is something he's done before. Write a book, put somebody else attached to it. So I said he fancies himself as kind of a writer. And I said, and he's clearly got a grudge. I explained the whole thing, and I said, I think this is what's happening. And then he said, so you don't think there really are these tapes? And I went, no. And he goes, and he said, well, because, he said, you have to understand that, he said, the truth is a defense. And do you understand what he means? He's saying, if we can allege that this is true, then that's a defense for Ariel.
Absolutely.
And I was like, yeah, I get it. And I hear what you're saying. I know you want to do what's right for your client. And I'm not saying I think your client went into this knowing. I think she was duped and then figured it out. And I explained why, because she allowed this guy to go to the grand jury the first time. And then the second time she said, no. Because I think at that point she had realized, oh, fuck. Now you're saying, no, she jumped on board. That may be true. Maybe, and it could be both, by the way. It could be she's not going to let him get in front of the grand jury because she doesn't want him indicted. But she also jumps on.
Because she knows she going down too.
But she also decides, hey, here's an opportunity to get myself flown around the country and make a few bucks. And the publicity alone is
She's going to bring me more clients.
Right. So it may be both. But we start talking. He's like, what do you think? I said, I think this, I think that. I explained the whole thing, what I thought. And he said, well, here's what I'm kind of thinking, this. And I said, I'm sorry, man. I said, I don't see that. I said, on top of that, I said, do you think that if there were tapes out there, I said, and they existed in any capacity, the government wouldn't have gotten a hold of them? I said, if Courtney really had those tapes, I said they got his phone. They have everything. They have his iCloud. They have his cell phone.
Man, they would have threatened that man. Said, man, if you don't give us these tapes,
even if
we're gonna lock your
them,
ass up.
Even if he'd erased them, he's not sophisticated enough to eliminate that footprint. It's out there. They would have gotten them.
Yeah.
I said they're out there. They would have gotten them
without a doubt.
And I said they would have presented them to the jury. And I said that hasn't happened. Now the case is still going on at the time when I talked to him. I said that hasn't happened. They haven't brought it up. They didn't charge them with it. I said they haven't presented anybody. They haven't called those guys as witnesses. I said I just don't think they exist. And he was like, well, okay. He was kind of mulling like, how do I go about? He was trying to figure out what's a good strategy other than she fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you're right. She fucked up because that makes her liable and she may have to pay something. I'm not sure how he justifies $50 million because I don't know how he actually proves specific damages, but
reputational harm, he says, economic harm.
I understand, but part of the harm. Well, no, you're right.
Economic harm.
I was going to dig in on
reputational harm. Reduced Ciroc sales. Reduced.
But I think Courtney
brand recognition.
But Courtney and Chris Todd had already done that.
Right.
She came in on the tail end.
Yeah, but she was putting gas on it.
I mean,
she was putting gas on it, and none of that stuff. And in the civil suit, it talked about how Ariel Mitchell and Courtney Burgess came up with this whole idea and this imaginary A-list celebrity parties where, there's these big orgies going on and, there's minors there and this baby oil and the people, there's cameras in his house. All of these people kept saying this. Ariel Mitchell, Courtney Burgess, Ashley Banfield on News Nation. And none of this stuff came out at the trial. And you best believe, man, if the assistant U.S. attorney, Southern District of New York, had it, man, if they had them flash drives, man, they would have put it in the evidence, man.
If they even believed they truly existed, they would have mentioned it. Even if they didn't have it, they would have mentioned
None
it.
of that came out, man. And that's what I went to the trial to see.
Yeah, I think that what happened was that Courtney started this whole thing. Chris Todd ran with it. And
I think the Cassie lawsuit first, because that shit is like
but
pornographic and salacious. And, and I think my man Courtney Burgess read that and said, yo, let me do this and that and do his thing. You know what I'm saying?
I think he wrote that book first. I think he wrote the book before the lawsuit.
Okay.
So we can just agree on that.
That's fine.
Only because I know the book was in existence prior to that lawsuit. Then again, I really only know that because Courtney told me he had given the book to another guy that was trying.
All his words. And
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, and he said he admitted he had given the book to the guy. They printed up 50 copies, 100 copies, and they were basically the guy's trying to sell it out of his trunk of his car at supermarkets and stuff.
Right.
Like the guy's, he's just a hood guy. He doesn't really know. He's convinced Courtney he's a marketer.
Right.
But a marketer for you is you're passing out flyers. So you print up 100 books or 50 books, you give them to him. He can't really sell any books. He's passing them out. He's trying to get people to buy them, walking out of the supermarket. So that never took off. And that's what he says. Yeah, years later, Wade calls him and he sees another opportunity this guy has a podcast. This guy, you see what I'm saying? He can help me. And that's how he got in right then to Chris Todd, and boom, they started that rumor, all based on Courtney Burgess lies written down and run forward.
Courtney Burgess and them came up with the whole freak-offs thing was this big party, and a freak-off was nothing more,
Do you think he came up with it, or do you think it was already kind of a rumor that he ran with?
I'm just going with the civil suit says.
Oh, okay, sorry.
This is all in the civil suit. I'm coming straight from the paperwork. And a freak-off was nothing more than Cassie, Puffy, and a male escort. And I'm in the courtroom. When I'm first going over there, I said, man, I can't wait till they get to this part about these freak-offs. I want to hear this. I want to hear who there. And Cassie on the stand says it was nothing more than me, Puffy, and a male escort. That was it. I said, that's a freak-off? That's it? And then I said, man, somebody done told a lie, man. Somebody done told a lie. The whole world, and in the civil suit, they talk about how hundreds of millions of people around the world believed what this dude, Courtney Burgess and Ariel Mitchell and News Nation, and they even mentioned Sean Atwood with his 946,000 subscribers, specifically in the civil suit. Sean Atwood unleashed 946,000 subscribers, his co-host Scoville, that this network of people disseminated information that was never corroborated, proven, no evidence, and it was defamation, libel, slander to the tune. And Puffy is an icon, man. He ain't no Sean G or no Matt, Small Potatoes, Dollar Tree. This is an icon. So, the brand damage, then they talked about in the civil suit, not taking in regards for Kim Porter's kids. You know what I'm saying? So they got trouble, man. They got trouble, man. And they thought Puffy wasn't coming out of this thing, man. Just like you. You thought Puffy was going to jail.
I did.
Don't pass go, take your car off the board, don't collect $200 and go to jail.
I thought he was gone.
Go to jail. Man, Puffy, oh man, I don't know this dude, man. This dude, man. You know, then he's in court, then Jane Doe is on the stand. We know who that is. He paying her rent. She on the stand testifying against him. He paying her rent, $10,000 a month, and paying for her lawyer. And he's sitting there, and this bitch on the stand just helping him send him to the prison for the rest of his life. Crazy, man. But his legal team, you got to give it up to his legal team.
How much did they get paid? It's got to be
Big time
steep.
dollars, tall dollars. And they probably still getting paid because some of them, because they're working on his sentences. But it don't matter, man, because they saved his life.
Yeah.
Man, whatever money I got, y'all want to offer me 30 years? All right, whatever money I got. Come on, baby. I need a 7. Let's roll him.
What happens now? Let's say he goes in. Let's say he's out 6 months from now. Let's say a year. A year from now,
He's out.
He's back. He's back in the mansion. And let's say he's got, I don't know, 20, 30 million left, whatever he's got left. Let's say he's got 10 million left, whatever. What does he do now? Does he recede into the background and kind of just fade away? Or does he go back into hip hop and start producing more again? What do you think he does for the rest of his life? How do you think that unfolds after prison?
My prognostication would be that Puffy, this situation changes him forever, right? Sitting in MDC Brooklyn for a year when you have a butler, you had a chef, you had 4 assistants that you're paying $100,000. You had your jet, you know, and then now you go to MDC Brooklyn and you realize that I can survive with just on this little 3-inch mat with the stainless steel toilet there, the sink where the water comes out, and the stainless steel mirror, and I got one window looking out, and I survived this, right? Then I had a chance to see who loved me and who didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I had a chance to see who wrote me and who didn't, who came to see me and who didn't, who called my kids.
Who my real friends were.
There you go. So this is like transformative, right? Because that's what it did for me. I think he comes out and see, Puffy, he's uncancelable, right? No matter what they say. They can cancel Matt Cox, they can cancel Sean G.
Let's hope not.
They're not, we hope not. But you can't cancel a Kanye West, right? You can't cancel a Jay-Z. You can't cancel a Puff. Right?
Kanye West is doing everything in his power to get canceled, and he can't do it.
You can't cancel these dudes. If Puffy comes out with a t-shirt when he gets out that says, acquitted, Puff,
He's going to make $5 million.
and puts it on his website for $30, he's going to sell
Yeah.
1 million of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think he re-examines his life. I think the stress that he went through of maybe going to prison for the rest of his life and watching Cassie get on the stand and Jane Doe get on the stand, people that he helped and testify against, I think this thing changes him for the rest of his life. But I think Puff makes a comeback because he knows the liquor business inside out. He knows the music business inside out. He knows the fashion. You know, I think I don't know if people are going to fuck with him like brands, but he is the brand,
Right.
right? You know, Adidas need Puff more than Puff need Adidas, right?
Right. So you think he and isn't it like I thought he and Jay-Z were like buddies, and he's never. Jay-Z was like didn't come around at all.
Well, we don't know what kind of phone conversations went on. You know what I'm saying? You know, but one thing we know for sure is that Kanye West came, right? Now check this out. Could you imagine Think about this shit. Kanye West and Puffy go into a music studio and lock themselves in there for 30 days and then call Jay-Z and say, yo, nigga, come on down. We got some fire here for you. We got some tracks. And they put that out. Them two on, could you imagine?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I don't think it's over for my man.
You don't think so? You don't think he disappears and just kind of
Hell
recedes
no.
into the background? You think he comes out fucking swinging?
Then his two daughters have their own clothing line out now. The twins have a clothing line out. You know, I think sometimes, man, you need to crash and burn in order to get right. Because that's definitely what happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I think he's in there saying, I don't, you know, the plane didn't, you know, I used to think the plane made me. I used to think my contact list in my phone made me. But none of these, you know, what makes me is me. Right? So that's what I think. I don't think I think he's bigger now than he was before the trial. As far as like iconic status,
Yeah.
who beats the feds at trial in the Southern District of New York?
Listen, before he was playing a gangster, you go to trial with the feds like you are, because I wouldn't
Talk about it, Matt. Say it.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. No.
Go to trial with the feds. You what?
You are a gangster.
There
Oh,
we
absolutely.
go. There we go. I didn't say it. You heard Matt Cox said it.
And that's true.
Y'all got mad with me because I said it on my Instagram and YouTube, but you heard him. You heard him. I was talking to a female, and I was telling her about what I heard in the courtroom about this dude, right? His chief of staff, he pays us $600,000 a year. Then he had 4 assistants. He's paying them $100,000 a year. One assistant stays with him 24 hours a day. The butler stays with him. They fly on wherever he go. Wherever hotel room he stay in, they go there. They call it advancing the hotel room. They go there before he get there. They put the applesauce there, bowl of fruit, razor, music playing, his favorite playlist, goddamn, the extra towels, you know, slippers, so that when he walks into whatever hotel room he's going in, it looks like his house.
Yeah.
Right? So he goes in there, he does whatever he does with Cassie and Jane or whatever. They mess up the hotel, $30,000 in damages, one hotel night, one time, it was $48,000 in damages to the hotel room. He got himself dressed, he packed up, flew on his jet to meet with another honey, and they paid for the damages with American Express. But he was constantly messing these hotel rooms up, right? And then he hires Harvard MBAs to run all 5 of his businesses. These are all Harvard MBAs, and of course they're gonna hire other Ivy League. And this dude just flies around on his plane, fucking the flyest women you ever seen in your life. Right? So I'm talking to this honey, and she said, Puffy is a boss. Whether you like him or not, they said he was gay. None of that came out at the trial. They said he messed around with little people underage. None of that came out at the trial. You understand? All that came out, Matt, all that came out was that the nigga had 9 girlfriends, man. And they would get mad. Oh, you bought her a Chanel bag and you bought me a Bottega bag. You bought her the diamond. You just bought me a diamond bracelet. You bought her the necklace and the bracelet diamond. You always take them to Turks and Caicos. This was Jane Doe. She was jealous. Cassie jealous. He told them all up front. Said, yo, I got a lot of girls, man. I got a lot of honeys. Is you with it or what? And Jane Doe understands. Says, he told me I fell in love with him from the first day. And he told me that he had a lot of girls, but I said I was just going to deal with it. But she would get mad when he would post pictures of him in Young Miami on the Instagram. She would get mad because he wouldn't let her post nothing of them together. Jane Doe?
Mm-hmm.
She
I
posted.
don't know who Jane Doe is. You said
You
we
know who Jane Doe is.
I don't know.
Jane Doe is a celebrity. Is a celebrity's the mother of a child that she shares with another celebrity that don't like Puff. So Puff Puff wouldn't. She took a picture of her and Puff one time at dinner. He made her take it down. She posted it to her Instagram. He made her take it down. But all his other honeys, they was posting. They on the plane.
Why do you think so?
Because he didn't regard her as, you're not gonna post me and I don't want to be seen with you. We just get together, we do our thing, and that's it.
So she's listed as Jane Doe in the lawsuit or in the stuff, but she's getting on trial. Like, so everybody who's at the courtroom or in the overflow room is just supposed to
Refer to her as Jane Doe.
and not say who it is.
Her real name.
Yeah.
Did you pull up who her real name is?
We don't have internet here yet.
Oh,
We don't
okay.
have Wi-Fi. We're in our new studio. We don't have Wi-Fi yet. We got about another week.
They got the dope new studio, y'all. Y'all wait till you see it. But it's 50 Cent's son's mother.
Oh, okay.
Is that why doesn't
That's
50
who it
Cent like always clown like because I saw
Why? Oh,
Yeah. And so
see, it's one of those things is you have to know. You have to know all of it to really talk about this without sounding like foolish, which is how I sound. Yeah. See, because everybody would be
That's
like,
why they
Wade,
don't-
everybody that's interested, every guy that sat here that that follows hip hop, they would all be like, bro, like, how the fuck do you not know that?
Right.
Just like you were like, you know who it is.
Right.
I don't. But I do know that 50 Cent clowns on Diddy constantly.
All the time.
But didn't he come out and say, like, wow, he beat him? Or didn't he say something like that? Like, didn't 50 Cent come out and say, like, he couldn't believe that he, like, wow, like, he kind of gave him props for, like, that was,
I
no?
saw a meme.
Or was that wrong? Is
I
that
saw
not
a
true?
meme where he said that Diddy's now the gay John Gotti.
Oh.
That's the only thing I saw from 50 Cent.
Never mind. Maybe that was it.
So
I thought somebody had said that he kind of gave him his props. Like, he was like,
I mean, he may have. That's the only thing I saw.
fucking
50 Cent showed me love. So, he took one of my videos on YouTube when I was covering the Big Meech case, and he put it on his Instagram channel, and I got a lot of appreciation for that. I got a lot of subscribers, a lot of views, and 50 Cent, thank you for that. So I don't want to, I fuck with Puff, you know what I'm saying? I'm down with Puff. But I don't want to get involved. That's 50 Cent and Puff thing, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to, but these are the facts of the case, that this woman, and she told Puff up front that when they first met, Puff was dating this girl. So the girl says, yo, Puffy invited me down to his house in Miami. He told me to bring all my friends. Let's all go. It was about 5 girls. And Jane Doe was one of them. So they all go to Puff's house. Puff takes them all out to dinner. And Jane Doe starts flirting with Puff behind her girlfriend's back, who's already in a relationship with Puff. They seen each other. So after they go to dinner, they go to the yacht, get on Puff's yacht. So they go out to the yacht, and Jane Doe testified that she saw Puff by the bathroom and gave Puff her number, and Puff gave her his number. While her girlfriend is on the boat dealing with Puff, she's stabbing her girlfriend in the back. So they hook up. So they go back. She goes back home. And then according to Jane Doe, the friend who she snaked was seeing another dude and got engaged and married and moved to Europe with him. So when she did that, she felt like now she could deal with Puff. It'd be no thing. Puff flew her down to Miami. They hung out for 5 days. And she said after that, she was head over heels in love with Puffy. And Puffy told her, say, look, I know how you feel about me. I can see it, but I'm single. I date a lot of women. And she testified on the stand, Jane Doe, that's all right. I'm gonna be willing to deal with it. I'm gonna deal with it. And then he flew her back down. They flew on his jet to Turks and Caicos for 9 days, and they left Turks and Caicos and went to the Bahamas for 6 days. They were together for 15 days straight. And she said when she came back from that trip, she was even more in love with him. But he never looked at her like the way she looked at him. You know what I'm saying? Because he already had a bunch of honeys already.
Was there a time that you felt that kind of the public opinion as far as everybody in the courtroom and around the courthouse kind of shifted to like, oh, well, he actually might get off or he
Ain't
might
no
get
question.
free? Was there like a certain time or was it all the way up until the verdict or whatever?
Nah, when we first got down there to the courthouse, the first week, everybody, we all went there to hear and see this smoking gun.
Mm-hmm.
We want to see it. Puff is doomed. I was like, let me go see. But they might be trying to jam the brother up, right? Might be trying to jam my brother up. So let me go see. But I'm going down there to see and hear all the stories that Courtney Burgess said too. And after Cassie got off the stand, I said, yo, somebody done told a lie, right? And then all of the YouTubers, all of the TikTokers, the Instagrammers, the CNBC, ABC, all the mainstream media was anti-Puff. I was the only nigga there, Matt, that was pro-Puff. And nobody talked to me. They used to look at me like I stink, man. Stop talking to me. Other black women, black dudes, everybody stopped talking. But I'm going out on my lives and everyone else is doing, Kobe, the direct examination when the prosecution presents. But then Puffy's goddamn legal team, that all-star team, when they would come back and do the cross-examination, they would obliterate the witness. And I was going on my lives presenting the direct examination and the cross. And people was coming in my live chat like, yo, Sean, man, why they not saying what you saying on TMZ or Fox or, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then they started going on the mainstream media channel, say, yo, Sean G saying the same, different what y'all saying. And I just kept pumping it that way. And I believe, and I've been told that my coverage helped Puff, man, from a public opinion standpoint, man. Because I was kicking it raw the way that it was going down in the court, and it gave people, and then my views, because I was doing about 20,000 views alive, and people, you know what I'm saying? People was like, nah, maybe Puff, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody was waiting for that hammer to drop.
Yeah.
And it never came, man. So that was when it started to shift, man. And I played a part in that, man. I played a part in that, 100%. Been told. And I used to see his lawyers in the hallway. They used to say, Sean, we watch your views. We watch your channel. Yup. And he beat it, man. He beat it. It's historic. This was a historic trial, Matt. Matt, this was a historic trial, man. He beat the feds at trial, man. What hip hop artist is he not the king of hip hop? Let's get to it, cause y'all got mad with me saying, "Oh, I say he the king of hip hop out of everybody. Nobody's got his street cred, right? Nigga went to war against the West Coast by himself. Tupac, Suge, right? Came out of that, right? Set up all these businesses, 9 women, my own jet, butler, chef, 4 assistants, right? House in LA, house in Miami. Indicted by the feds. Don't rat. Right. Listen.
Who's gonna tell on?
Listen. Kobe, don't rat. Fuck it. Let's go to trial. Tie your sneakers up. You got 6 assistant U.S. attorney? I'm hiring 11 lawyers. However many y'all got, I'm hiring more. And then Puffy is there, Matt, during the trial. This nigga taking notes. Telling Mark Neckflow, come here. Come here. Passing him notes. Read this. Ask him this. Ask him that. So he was just as much involved in his defense as his attorneys.
Yeah, you have to be.
You have to be. Yeah. You have to be a lawyer too. And, you know, and he beats him at trial. It's an amazing story, man. It's an amazing story. And then he's getting ready to sue these people. He's suing NBC for $100 million because they wrote that documentary, The Making of a Bad Boy, on Peacock. You know what I'm saying? Based on that is also brought up in the civil suit with Courtney Burgess and them. NBC made this documentary, The Making of a Bad Boy, based on what this nigga Courtney Burgess and Ariel Mitchell was running around saying.
Is Jaguar right in that?
I don't know nothing about her.
Okay.
I know of her, but I don't know nothing about her.
Yeah, she's not in this. I'm just wondering if she was named. And you're saying that Sean Atwood is in it?
Ain't no question. In the civil suit.
Is he being sued, or they just mention his program?
He's mentioned he got 2 pages worth of...
But he's not being sued.
No.
Okay.
But he's mentioned in the civil suit, so you never know. Something may be coming down.
I feel good about that.
They thought they was going to never have to deal with him again.
Right.
Matt, you thought you was going to invite me back down here. We was going to be talking about...
What's it going to be like for him in prison over the next 20
is he
years?
going to a USP or he going to a medium? Or he going to a medium?
We don't have to have that discussion.
Let me say this here. You know how many hotels there are in Manhattan, in New York?
No.
705 hotels in New York City. You know what hotel Puffy always chooses to stay in when he go there? What you could think?
What?
No.
What? Ritz?
What hotel you say? Trump International.
I was about to say that.
Trump International is 705 hotels in New York. Puffy, he didn't. So we support those who support us. So Puffy always stayed at the Trump International. Right? That's where he always stayed. You don't want to talk about the Maureen Comey getting fired? The lead prosecutor?
Yeah.
Of what?
Of the
Diddy? She got fired?
the
You
one
didn't
that
know
worked for the government?
No.
Yeah, Maureen Comey, the lead prosecutor. Trump fired her last week. She was the lead prosecutor against Puff. She prosecuted the Epstein case.
What do you think Puff's check cleared? Or wait.
Oh man, come on.
He's on the. You think Trump's on the fucking phone? Goes, okay, so what?
But you know, Trump had some
got
static.
you.
Trump had some static with her pops. Remember, he was the head of the FBI.
Oh yeah, Comey.
Comey.
Oh, okay, man. See, and
Right.
I actually did know that. I heard she got fired. I didn't realize that she was the head of the Diddy trial. I didn't realize she was running that. I just knew that she got fired.
She was the lead prosecutor on the front row. All the 6 prosecutors sat on the front row. She sat in the first seat, and she was the one. She wanted Puffy's head. She wanted his head. She wanted his head. She wanted his head.
How much money did they waste on that trial?
She wanted his head. And she prevented Puff from going home because when Puff got acquitted, Mark Agnifilo stood up. When he got acquitted of the 2 serious charges, Mark Agnifilo stood up and said, Your Honor, the jury of Mr. Combs' peers, gave him his life back today. They gave him his freedom back. His family is here. We are willing to put up $1 million bond right now, signed by 3 of his family members. We will abide by whatever conditions that you set. He could only be relegated to LA, Miami, and New York. I have Puffy's passport, and I have the passports of every member in his family, so he's not a flight risk. We ask that you let him go home. And the judge says, you mean to go home like today, right now? Mark and Liv says, yeah, right now. Right now. I know he needs to go and get processed and has to do some things with the marshals, but we want him to go home today. And Judge Submaranian looked at Puff. He was with it. Because they be trying to say that Judge Submaranian is a racist and that he hates Puff. I didn't see none of that at the trial. I did not get that vibe. I thought my man ran a very fair trial. And Puffy even stood up in court and told him, Judge, I think you're doing a great job. This is what Puffy said himself. So don't even be going in my comment section saying, shut up. But anyway, Judge Submaranian then looks at Puff and says, Mr. Combs, I'm sure you, after he listens to Agnifilo, he says, Mr. Combs, I'm sure you don't want to go back to MDC Brooklyn. And Puffy does this. He says, nope. And then Judge Submaranian says, does the prosecution have anything to say? And Maureen Comey stood up and says, we are totally against letting him go home today. He was convicted of 2 very serious crimes that carry a 20-year sentence, and there's violence. She shut the whole thing down. This was about 11:45 that Friday. So she said her thing. So now the judge is chilling. He don't know what to do. Because they've been bullying my man the whole trial. They've been bullying this judge the whole trial because he's only on the bench 2 years. So he says, all right, Mark Agnifilo, you write me a letter. Ms. Comey, you write me a letter, putting forth your position, and we'll meet back here at 1 o'clock. So we go out. Everybody back in the courtroom at 5 minutes to 1. We waiting. They don't come back. 2 o'clock comes around. The marshals come and say, he ain't coming back. Ain't no more court to 5 o'clock. So we all dip. Then when he comes back at 5 o'clock, Cassie's lawyer done wrote a letter. Deontay Nash done wrote a letter. All these people done wrote a letter saying that they should keep him in custody. And he went with it. He says, bail is denied, and that's it. But he says that the violence argument that you made right now to keep him in MDC Brooklyn can't be used again come sentencing. And then Puff didn't get a chance to go home, but that judge was gonna let him go home, man.
When is sentencing?
October the 3rd. He got another 60 days, man. He do his 200 push-ups a day, 300 push-ups a day, 400 jumping jacks a day, take his nap. He gonna be right when he come out. Gonna be right.
And what should the people do until October 3rd? Who should they subscribe to?
They should subscribe to the podcast with Soul and to Matt Cox Inside True Crime and write Judge Submaranian a letter. If you pro Puff, write your letters the way Cassie wrote. I mean, I don't understand why this girl, she getting sued too. You see what's been going on with her, right?
No.
All of the male escorts are suing her.
Oh, yeah, you said that. Why are they suing her?
Well, she gave one of them chlamydia. She had a baby. She aborted the child of one of them. The dude, he's been going around on all the channels.
Oh, we've been trying to get him. The Punisher.
The Punisher?
No, not the Punisher.
Oh.
Another one called Clayton Howard.
Oh, okay.
He was with her for 8 years. Him and Cassie had a relationship for 8 years with Puff.
And what happened with him?
I haven't heard anything on it.
Well, he's saying
No, I mean with the Punisher.
Yeah, we were supposed to have the Punisher supposed to come on. We haven't had to follow up on it because they were asking about dates. We're like, we're open, and then haven't heard anything. But go ahead.
He reached out to me. He reached out to me about a month ago before he has been going on his social media tour. I think he wanted to come on my platform and tell his story. But he was one of the male escorts that was involved with Cassie for 7 to 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Puffy knows him. They know each other. And he's suing Cassie for sexual assault, that she assaulted him, that she flew him to L.A. one time. It was late at night, and he walked into the hotel room. She had all the lights off, and she forced herself onto him, and she was on her period, and she bled all over him. And he said that was the assault. He got her pregnant. She aborted the baby without telling him, and she gave him venereal disease one time too. So he's going after, and I think there's a couple of other male escorts that are going to be suing her now. And all he's saying is that, and he says Puffy it was never forced. She was the initiator. She, used to tell him, he was with his girl one time. She made him leave his girl to come. Said, if you don't leave that girl and come over here and knock me down, I ain't never calling you again. And he said, man, I had to leave my girl because he was getting like $4,000-5,000 a trip to knock down Cassatt. Puff is the man. This is iconic.
Oh my God.
This is iconic, man. You understand? For me, right? For me, as a foundational Black American man, right? Who the criminal justice system. Now, I went to prison. I was wrong. I was committing crime. I knew I was committing crime. I knew I was doing wrong while I was doing it. So I should have went to prison for what I was doing. But this criminal justice system for so many years and all of the prosecutorial misconduct that came out in this trial, man, that only got exposed because Puffy got tall dollars and he had this all-star legal team. Mm-hmm. I can only imagine how many brothers are sitting in jail for prosecutorial misconduct. They didn't have no money, right?
Yeah.
But to see me as a foundational Black American male in this justice system and this criminal justice system, the way it has done us, to see a foundational Black American male take the Southern District of New York to trial, the feds, the highest in the land, with the highest conviction rate, and beat him, that was big for me, man. That was big for me, man. You know what I'm saying? And he was innocent, Matt. He was innocent, Matt. None of that came out. None of that came out. What we thought.
That's true.
None of that came out. None of that came
All right,
out,
we're
man.
wrapping it up. We're wrapping it up. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Hey, you guys, I appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified of videos just like this. Also, please go to Foundation. What was Soul?
The podcast.
Oh, go to the podcast with Soul. The link's gonna be in the description for it's Sean G's podcast. He was there nearly every day of the Diddy trial. He's got great coverage. Does all kinds of stuff on his podcast. There's links there. We'll leave his social medias also. Thank you very much. See ya.